Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you're all doing great and that you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It is a free and easy way to stay up to date on crypto news every single day for like the past. It's been about 8 years now. It's actually been about 8 years. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. As you might have imagined or remembered, the last couple of weeks have been, I want to say more or less, but remember how everyone's been like super optimistic on prices and October, and where Bitcoin's price is going to be by the end of this month, and November, and December. In case you haven't been caught up, every single analyst thinks that prices are basically going to skyrocket. They're going to continue pumping. Prices will get to brand new all-time highs, six-figure Bitcoin, and all that kind of stuff. This news was, of course, popular. It's a bit, the word's not confusing. I'm going to have to clarify some things because once again, people within the cryptocurrency space and a large number of people who write cryptocurrency articles know almost nothing about what's actually happening within the space, which is, the word's not disheartening. It's like almost a little bit like annoying, actually. Coinbase's institutional report highlighted optimism for the cryptocurrency market, driven by a number of factors. Coinbase has, I think it's a quarterly report. I remember every single crypto exchange, every company has a quarterly, and some have a monthly report, where basically they talk about the happenings within the cryptocurrency space. How much money has flown in, how much money might have flown out, how many new wallet addresses compared to the other times before that are equivalent to it after the halving. Do we have as many people getting into the market? Do we have as much this? What's happening with the wider macro economy? Kind of things. And they showed optimism for the crypto market, driven by expectations of US rate cuts and China's monetary stimulus. For those of you, I just slammed my hand. For those of you who, that actually hurt, wow. For those of you who missed it, the idea is that the Fed is expected to, no one knows that they're going to, they're expected to lower interest rates again in November and then kind of signal that they're willing to do the exact same thing in December. Both with half a point. That's the expectation from, I believe, Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase. China's economy is also garbage and has been for the last couple of years. People believed in the early 2000s that they were basically going to become like the powerhouse of the world, if you will. I mean, not that they still couldn't, but it's more of a, the last few years have kind of shown that their economy isn't as strong as we originally thought and people let on, based off of the housing situation and a bunch, I mean, dozens of other problems that the country is also having. So the country recently, recently announced that they are going to basically turn the money printer back on. I believe it's like $166 billion. Like, I think that's the actual like number. And also the expectation is that other countries will do the same. We've seen other countries lowering their interest rates and or keeping them the same. But we also have seen since the beginning of this year, there were a sprinkle of countries who announced they were lowering interest rates. The expectation is that the other countries will continue to do so. China will basically need more money to keep their economy afloat, like literally floating on water, not soaring into the sky. And that basically the Fed will also be forced to do so as well. They say, which could boost Bitcoin's performance in Q4 2024. That's now. That's where we are. You've heard it since summertime. Q4 2024. It's October, November, and December. These are meant to be like the beginning months for the dragging us into the bull run of 2025. It says, while Bitcoin remains strong, Ethereum faces challenges. It doesn't, and I'm going to explain I promise you, I'm going to explain exactly why not. Ethereum faces challenges with rising transaction fees and limited impact from US spot exchange traded funds. For those of you who do not know or have missed it in some sort of way, I'm not really sure why, but a lot of people keep throwing negativity towards Ethereum. I can only assume that, as this website is literally called Bitcoin, I can only assume that a lot of people are voting for Bitcoin as opposed to putting any kind of faith in Ethereum. Ethereum still looks like it could, now hear my words lightly. Ethereum still looks like it could outperform Bitcoin, and if we had the right market conditions, would potentially become number one. Becoming number one, question mark. Outperforming Bitcoin on a percentage rise, absolutely, it's definitely going to happen. And what we tend to see every single market cycle is that, namely, no, actually, it's kind of everyone. No, yeah. Because I was thinking, I was like, it's just Bitcoin maximalists, but that's also not true either. We have a lot of hate is the word from Cardano. For those of you who missed it, Charles Hoskinson called Vitalik Buterin a dictator and said that Ethereum was X, Y, and Z. We get it from the Solana people. We used to get it from Tron years ago. Basically, every coin that kind of wants to usurp Ethereum but cannot do so tends to announce that something's wrong with the project. It's doing too slow, or blah, 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 blah. The people who've invested in Cardano, who've invested in Ethereum, they understand what the project is. These people aren't, I think that's one of the, trying to choose my words nicely. A lot of people who get into crypto, who've been here for less than a year, they think that big money's stupid. So when often a lot of people find themselves, slowly marching into the cryptocurrency space, they themselves fall trap to many, meme coins using Solana and all these other things that are blatant scams. And they then assume that everything else that they haven't touched must also be the exact same way until they end up, finding the promised land and find the actual coins that are being used. So a lot of times I see it online. I see it. A lot of people, they'll assume that institutional investors don't understand that Bitcoin is only 3 to 5 transactions per second. They have metrics that you couldn't even begin to understand. They know the inner workings of this market. There's a reason why money keeps flowing only to certain coins over and over. And then you find yourself in this weird precarious situation where the coins that I told you not to get into 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years ago, all of them continue to not do well. You see money flowing into Bitcoin and you go, it's only 3 to 5 transactions per second, but Solana's the best thing ever. And then you see all this money flowing into Ethereum. Ethereum's price is going up and more institutions are getting into it. Didn't it seem a little odd that they were only trying to get an Ethereum ETF? And not a Tron, and not a Cardano, and not a Babubuda, and not dog with hat and car and chain. And it's the same cycle over and over and over. Ethereum is not facing challenges. It's literally just the way that the coin actually is. Rising, and I'm gonna be as honest as possibly possible with all of you. Rising transaction fees don't hurt the money makers, the people who are actually making money and who are going to make more money, and the people who provide liquidity to the market. That was a gigantimous misconception a number of years ago. Remember when the entire Ethereum NFT thing was going on? And there were a lot of people who were like, Ethereum's going down. Transaction fees are $5. And I was like, that's not what you think it is. Ethereum transaction fees went up to, I think, $28, $34. And there were even some people who were paying like $104 for a transaction fee. What normal people heard, now, once again, I'm going to try and be nice and honest. What normal people heard, $100 something is a lot of money to a lot of people. It's not that it's not a lot of money, but you understand. Conceptually, there are a lot of people on the planet. If you gave them $100, they, oh my gosh, I can do this, I can do A, B, and C. To the people who have like big money in the market, $100, $1,000 is absolutely nothing to them. Do you remember, quiz time, does anyone remember the people who were actually paying the $150 transaction fees? Anyone remembers? It was the people who were buying the NFTs for 1.5 million. It was the people who were transacting and sending $7 million worth of Ether. $100 means nothing to them. It means something to the everyday common man who's trying to buy a tenth of an Ether all the time and they have to pay the fees. But the big money, the real money in the space, you know how like we keep talking about whales are accumulating all these coins, their wallet addresses with 7,000 Ether. That's the money. Those are the market makers. They understand what the system is and they continue building on it and they continue buying Ether because Ethereum has the best chance of remaining as the number 2 coin in the market potentially forever, especially as we keep getting all these upgrades and updates from all these people from Ethereum. We're up to like 12.5 this year. There's still more upgrades coming. And the secondary part, which I find the most interesting, because and I will drag it back a bit, and I won't say that these are blatant lies, but I think a lot of people don't really understand what's going on, which is a Snoop Dogg-on shame, because this literally happened a couple of months ago. Do you remember when the ETFs for Bitcoin first launched? What happened? Like 2 or 3 days after? Where did the price go and why? For those of you who don't remember or have simply re-entered recently the cryptocurrency space, the price of Bitcoin went down. We were all, me, you, we, us, we were all flabbergasted. Why is the Bitcoin price going down? The BlackRock ETF accumulated 4,000 Bitcoin. This one had an inflow of $80 million. And it took us about a good 2 weeks until all the on-chain analytical companies were like, oh, of course. Grayscale won the lawsuit against the US SEC to get their Bitcoin fund converted into a Bitcoin ETF. The problem that we still do not have an answer to is that while other companies had a 1% fee, a 0.15% fee, Grayscale left their fee at 2.5%. Literally 10 to 20x what the other ETFs had. Still no clarification as to why. I assume some kind of like Austin Powers, Dr. Evil thing was happening behind the scenes where someone told them to keep their fee that, like, that's all I can conceptualize. Who agrees? There's no way on this earth that I would see, listen, you have neighbors. Look at your neighbors. Imagine they're each getting $1 billion per day and you're like, I wonder why no one's shopping here. Maybe I should lower my fees. Actually, I'm going to keep them exactly the same. We even heard from the people from Grayscale, remember this, who said that they had no intention of lowering their fees because they're waiting for the market to mature. And I was like, that sounds a little fishy to me because no one's that dumb to get the first Bitcoin ETF and you make sure that you have the highest fees. So what happened? We saw outflows specifically from Grayscale. Yeah, I know a lot of people forgot that. Over the course of multiple months, Grayscale was holding an egregious amount of Bitcoin, and people saw that their fee was 2.5, and they had actual Bitcoin ETFs from BlackRock, who also had a 0% fee for a while. So the idea is, or the thought process was, that people were selling off their shares from the Grayscale ETF, and they were maybe moving it into other places. Maybe they were simply getting the actual coins. No one knows. The issue was that it was Grayscale. For those of you who keep missing this news, and I don't know if it's because you want to, however, here we go. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Grayscale's ETHE, that's the name of their thing, projected to lose 50% of its Ether holdings by November 7th, amid continued outflows. Grayscale is currently going through and doing the exact same thing that they did before. You know how you keep hearing how bad the Ethereum ETFs are doing. They only have outflows. Why is there so much money leaving the ETFs? And I've told you all multiple times in videos, I'm like, no, they're doing really, really well. If you've missed any of the last 2 months of videos, I get it. However, nearly, I want to say twice or thrice a week, we'll get some kind of a news, or there's an article and it's like $14 million left the Ethereum ETFs. Oh, they're having a bad day. But what people miss is that 14 million came from Grayscale. The other Ethereum ETFs had $78 million worth of inflows. That's the way that it's been moving constantly. Even on like the bad days, sometimes we'll see like 20 million leaving the outflows, and then we'll see 22 million as inflows. For some reason, I don't know what Grayscale's marketing strategy is. I don't even think I want to know. Like, it almost like something's weird there. There is not a chance on this earth that any mega company would make sure that their rivals are making hundreds of millions of dollars in fees, and you wouldn't lower yours. A lot of the news constantly. I had to explain it because it's so frustrating. It's used as a tool or a method to lie to other people to make you think that there's no movements in the market. There are institutions. There's a reason. Do you understand why they even went for Ethereum ETFs? It's because there is institutional backing. There's institutions who want it. You don't just launch something because ETH. I can say ETH a lot better than Cardano. Let's launch that one. No, there's big money behind all of this. Billions and billions of dollars flowing into this ecosystem. But once again, the average person doesn't see that, and nothing makes a lot of sense to them. It's kind of the same exact thing where the entirety of the summer we saw prices trending sideways, or Bitcoin was going down, and everyone's like, well, that's it. The bull runs over because of blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, because in that same exact time, we're getting all this whale information of all this buying that's happening. They coordinated and made sure that they could buy as much Bitcoin as they wanted without literally rocking the boat. They were buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin weekly, and we kept on getting the news. And 91% of, remember that number, 91% again? How do you think they got to 91%? They coordinated everything because they want all the Bitcoin. A lot of people are going to have a very difficult future. I'm trying to tell you right now. The more you make sure that you don't pay attention to what's actually happening, you are going to have a rough, RUFF. It's going to be a rough time for you economically. Why do you think these people are going after the same assets over and over and over and over and over? Didn't you think it was weird when all these other crappy coins kept on popping up and you didn't hear BlackRock go, Dog Hat Coin Chain, no. Big money knows what's going on. These people aren't stupid. They understand market dynamics. They understand what's going on. They understand how to flush you out of the market. I remember making videos in 2020. I remember making videos and telling people, I'm not joking. I remember saying, because you want to know why as well? Listen, in 2020, I remember looking out the window. This isn't a lie. I remember looking out the window and it was autumn and the leaves were falling. And I remember saying the words, "Don't get shaken off like a leaf." Because that was one of like the things that we were talking about, that they were purposefully making sure that people were like leaving the market, were uninterested, didn't understand what was going on, until we started getting all this news even back in 2021 that all the retail investors were leaving the market. They had prices keep going down. Why am I in this market? Prices move up the entirety of 2021 and then they get back into the market, but they've already filled their bags. They have all the coins that they want. Even during the bear market after 2021, they kept on accumulating. It means nothing to them if prices are low or if prices are high. They're still buying. They wait for you to lose patience, to sell off your coins, and then they take your money for themselves. Do you wonder where generational wealth comes from? There you go. Why do you think so many like these rich families have so much money? These wealth offices. You think they see prices go down and they go, "I'm scared. I'm selling everything." They wait until you leave and then they buy more. When you hear in the future that these families are worth hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars, because I'm talking like a good year 2040. That they're worth all this money from crypto, don't be surprised. Like not even 1%. Like make sure that like you turn off your surprised button and you just kind of, okay, cool. I'm fine with this. What do you think is happening? What do you think has been going on all of these years? And the craziest part, to end this thought, the craziest part is that the bull run market phase that we're currently in right now is expected to end around November 2025. By the time we get to December 2025, January 2026, about a good 30% of you will leave the market once again, completely disillusioned that the market will never come back, isn't going to move up the way that you want it to, and then you're going to ignore it. And do you know when you're going to get back into the market? 2028, when prices have begun to move back up again and you realize over the last 2 years you wasted time not buying anything. It's the same loop over and over, constantly, over and over. It's maddening. It is absolutely, it drives me crazy. If you somehow hadn't noticed, it's the same loop over and over. I sincerely don't get it. Imagine you bought a house. Imagine you bought property. Imagine you bought land. And at some point you heard there was a housing crisis, a housing so-and-so, and your property lost 12%. Would you panic and sell it? Or would you wait until the crisis was over and then your property, doubled and tripled in price? Oh boy. Coinbase Institutional, there we go, published its latest takeaways from Token 2049. The report, co-authored by David Duong, head of institutional research, and David Han, institutional research analyst, summarized key insights from the Token 2024 and something called Solana Breakpoint conferences, which were held in Singapore. They wrote, "We anticipate a constructive Q4 2024 due to U.S. rate cuts and significant fiscal and monetary stimulus from China, which should enhance market liquidity and support BTC performance." If you also missed it before as well, I don't know how, but a lot of people did. We had an article. This was like 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. Someone had a revelation and I was like, what? What's the revelation? They found out that Bitcoin is not banned in China, and I made a whole video where I was literally like, yeah, we got that. Yeah, we understood that before. For those of you who don't know, Bitcoin's not banned in China. Day trading it is. And also, nope, you can also mine it there as well, but you need special permissions from the government. But also, normal people aren't really mining Bitcoin. Like, you can't do it with your laptop. And most people sure as heck aren't buying like 1,000 machines to kind of keep the engines revving. But yeah, so the idea is that, I mean, people are, I mean, it makes, you ever heard the term boggles the mind? It boggles the universe, how people just don't pay attention to like what's actually going on in the news that we've been getting, or what people's perception of things actually are. People in China have been able to buy Bitcoin this entire time. That was one of the misconceptions as well earlier this year from the Hong Kong Bitcoin ETFs, that people within China is like, no, they've been able to get that. It's just how it's always been working. Same exact thing that we also got 2 weeks ago. For those of you who missed it, yeah, China is still the #1 place on the planet where people are mining Bitcoin. I wonder why. Well, maybe it's because the last couple of years they weren't complaining nonstop about other places being able to control Bitcoin and or mining Bitcoin, and therefore they've just, upped their operations. It's just about keeping your eyes, your was it balls on the eye, eyes on the ball. There we go. Keep your eyes on the ball. It's the same over and over. I swear to goodness, I can already feel it. I can feel the end of 2025, and I can see the comments, and I can see this like people like leaving the market. It happens every single time, guys. Anywho, everyone believes the entirety of Q4 is meant to be this uproarious kind of time. We'll see what happens. Most people are speculating, for those of you who do not know or are blissfully unaware. The idea is that typically around the 6th of November, if there's any downtrend, markets will bounce back because every Bitcoin halving falls on an election year. And after every election, world markets, not just crypto, world markets bounce back as a sigh of relief that there is a chosen one, if you will, or someone has been put into office, and therefore markets can kind of get back to work. Yeah, everyone. I've been saying this, since around like April. I was like, it's so weird that everyone's talking about like big things for Q4. Q4. This year was also really fast. I can't be the only one. This was one of the fastest years I've ever had in my entire life. Like, this was like fast. And lo and behold, we're here. So yeah, let's continue to see what happens to prices, where they're going to go if we end up getting that illustrious, what is it? $165,000 Bitcoin sometime in December. That's the current numbers from the analyst, anywhere from 100K, and the highest that they've gone by the end of December is 165. I wouldn't mind it. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.